Imagine living in a time where fear was a tool of power and pain was a method of control. In medieval Europe, torture devices were used to enforce laws and extract confessions. These devices weren't just instruments of pain, they were designed to break the spirit. One of the most terrifying examples is the Pear of Anguish, a device so gruesome it's hard to believe it ever existed. Torture devices like this reflect the brutal history of the medieval era, where cruelty was an everyday reality. We will explore the design and use of these notorious devices, share chilling historical cases, and provide expert insights into their impact. Prepare for an eye-opening look into a dark chapter of human history, the Pear of Anguish. The Pear of Anguish is one of the most gruesome medieval torture devices. Shaped like a pear, it was made of metal and had 4 segments that could be expanded by turning a screw at the top. When closed, it was small enough to be inserted into the mouth, rectum, or vagina. Once inside, the screw was turned, causing the segments to open and expand, tearing the flesh. The Pear of Anguish was designed to inflict extreme pain and humiliation. It was used on people accused of various crimes, including blasphemy, adultery, and homosexuality. The pain caused by the expanding segments was excruciating, often leading to severe internal injuries or death. Beyond the physical agony, the device also created immense psychological terror. Victims knew they would be subjected to a slow and painful ordeal, which often broke their will even before the torture began. Historical records of the Pear of Anguish are scarce, but there are some accounts that provide insight into its use. For example, one 16th century document describes its use on a man accused of spreading heretical ideas. He was tortured with the Pear of Anguish until he confessed, although the confession was later deemed unreliable due to the extreme duress he was under. A contemporary account from the same period quotes a witness who described the screams of the victims as the most horrible sound one could ever hear, highlighting the device's role in instilling fear and maintaining control. These accounts, though few, paint a vivid picture of the brutal reality faced by those who encountered the Pear of Anguish. The Strappado. The Strappado was a widely used medieval torture device, simple yet excruciatingly painful. It consisted of a rope used to bind the victim's hands behind their back. The rope was then attached to a pulley system that would lift the victim off the ground, suspending them in the air. Often, additional weights were attached to their feet to increase the pain and strain on their shoulders and arms. The reverse hanging method caused severe dislocation of the shoulders and immense pain in the muscles and joints. As the victim was hoisted and dropped repeatedly, the physical damage compounded, often leading to long-term disability or death. The physical effects of the Strappado were brutal. Victims experienced intense pain, dislocated shoulders, torn ligaments, and sometimes broken bones. The added weights made the situation even worse, causing further damage and increasing the agony. Mentally, the Strappado was equally devastating. The anticipation of pain and the helplessness of being suspended in the air created extreme psychological distress. Experts note that the psychological trauma often had lasting effects, leaving victims in a state of chronic fear and anxiety long after the torture ended. The Strappado was used extensively during the Inquisition and in various political trials. One notable case involved Giordano Bruno, an Italian philosopher who was subjected to the Strappado for his controversial ideas before being executed in 1600. His case is often cited by historians as an example of the lengths to which authorities would go to silence dissent. Historian Edward Peters describes the Strappado as a tool of terror, designed not just to extract information, but to break the spirit of the accused. This insight highlights the dual purpose of the device, inflicting physical pain and instilling deep psychological fear. These historical instances and expert insights provide a chilling glimpse into the use of the Strappado and its impact on both individual victims and society as a whole. Other notable torture devices. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more intriguing historical insights. Ever wondered how brutal medieval torture devices could get? Let's dive into some of the most infamous ones, like the donkey and the rack. These devices were designed to inflict maximum pain and extract confessions through sheer agony. The donkey, also known as the wooden horse, was a sharp, triangular device where victims were forced to straddle the point, often with weights added to their feet to increase the pain. The rack, on the other hand, stretched the victim's body, pulling their limbs apart and dislocating joints. The donkey's sharp edge cut into the victim's flesh, causing excruciating pain and often leading to severe injuries. It was used to punish and humiliate, making the victim's suffering visible to others. The rack operated by tying the victim's wrists and ankles to rollers at each end of a wooden frame. Turning the rollers stretched the victim's body, causing intense pain, dislocated joints, and even torn muscles. This device was used to force confessions by pushing victims to the brink of unbearable pain. Both devices were incredibly cruel, but they had different methods and impacts. The donkey focused on localized, sharp pain and humiliation, while the rack caused widespread, severe bodily harm. In different regions and periods, the use of these devices varied. In some areas, the rack was favored for its effectiveness in extracting confessions, while the donkey was often used for public punishment and intimidation. These devices highlight the extreme measures taken to control and punish in medieval times, reflecting a dark chapter in human history. Why were such brutal torture methods used in medieval times? Torture wasn't just about inflicting pain. It was a powerful tool for maintaining power, order, and control. Authorities believed extreme pain would deter crime and ensure confessions, regardless of their truth. Fear and pain were potent tools for manipulation. By subjecting individuals to horrific devices, those in power could instill terror, making people more compliant. The mere threat of torture kept many in line. Historians like Edward Peters note that torture demonstrated the state's power as much as it punished individuals. It reinforced the idea that the state had ultimate control over life and death, creating an environment of fear and submission. These methods remind us of the dark chapters in history where pain and fear were tools of governance. Psychological impact on society. The use of brutal torture devices had a profound psychological impact on medieval society. These instruments of pain and terror instilled deep fear and intimidation among the general populace. Knowing that even a minor accusation could lead to unspeakable suffering kept people in constant fear and made them more obedient to authority. This widespread fear maintained social order, but at a great psychological cost to the people. The legacy of these practices has significantly shaped our perception of medieval history. The sheer brutality of the torture methods used has led us to view this period as one of darkness and cruelty. Experts note that the psychological trauma inflicted by these devices left deep scars not only on the victims, but also on society as a whole. The collective memory of such horrors has influenced historical narratives and our understanding of human rights progression. We've explored the gruesome world of medieval torture devices, focusing on the Pear of Anguish, the Strappado, and other notorious instruments. We've delved into their design, purpose, and the terrifying impact they had on individuals and society. Reflecting on the evolution of human rights, it's clear that we've come a long way from the dark days of medieval torture. The decline of such brutal practices highlights the progress we've made in valuing human dignity and rights. This journey from cruelty to compassion underscores the importance of protecting these hard-won freedoms. As we look back on these dark chapters of history, it's crucial to think critically about their impact on modern society. How do these historical practices influence our views on justice and human rights today? What lessons can we learn to ensure such atrocities never happen again? How do we balance justice and humanity in modern legal systems? What can we do to prevent the use of torture in any form today? Thank you for joining us on this journey through history. If you found this video insightful, please like and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into the past.